My name is Kyle Inserra, and I'm a former chef, a former restaurant owner, and now I run a business where I help emerging restaurant brands find great real estate all across the country. But right now we are standing in my house. We bought this house back in August, but this is essentially a garage. Somebody divided this 2-car garage, and this was, I guess, like a workshop at one point, but it is going to be the podcast studio for Closed Monday, although it doesn't look like it right now. Right now, this has kind of just been like a dumping ground for all of our stuff that we don't really know where we're going to put it. It is going to be a podcast studio. So I thought I'd take some time to let you know why I even have a podcast, how I started it, and where it's going. So 2020, world was shut down. I was still running a restaurant here in Westchester County and still had a lot of downtime. And in that downtime, you're scrolling the phone, you're consuming content, and I had always been a big believer in content, creating a brand for yourself. But podcasting was just becoming a thing. And I got myself a little crappy mic. I had no lights. I had headphones. I used like the Apple AirPods, earbuds even, or whatever. The wired ones, whatever they're called. And I just started reaching out. I made a logo on Canva, which was horrible. The show was called National Restaurant Owners Podcast, which was terrible, the National Restaurant Owners Podcast. But, I got the idea from Gary Vee. He was saying something like, hey, if you want to be a specialist, you got to be able to talk about what you do, and you should create a podcast, and you should call it the something show from this town or whatever. Reference your town and what you do. This is the Westchester County Restaurant Show. But I was like, I don't really want to do just Westchester County. I had been working on national brands for a while, and I was like, it just seems like I'm going backwards. So I did the National Restaurant Owners Podcast, terrible name, but the branding was good. Did all the branding myself, and I would just start reaching out to people. I actually created, I've never said this before, but I actually created a fake name, like a fake producer. My connection to the industry was able to stay alive through these conversations. And then, of course, through meeting all these folks, I got speaking opportunities, invitations to be on other podcasts. So I say all this not to kind of just, pat myself on the back, but to encourage you to do the same thing. It is, without a doubt, a new way to, whatever you do, it's a great way to connect with people in your field. It's a great way to also put yourself out there and let people know what you do, because the reality is no one is going to tell your story better than you do. And if you can do that on a consistent basis, I was just talking to a buddy of mine, Sean Walchef. Shout out to Sean, because he has been hugely supportive of me and the show. So thank you, Sean. But I was just talking to him. I was just talking to Sean about how when you stay consistent, I mean like 15 minutes ago, I was just talking to Sean about how when you stay consistent, it's amazing how if you just put 3, 4, 5 episodes in a row out and stay consistent on social media, which has been tricky because I've done a lot of this on my own, but we've now gotten into a decent cadence with it. The offers start to come in. Brands want to talk to you. Guests want to be on the show. All sorts of new opportunities start to come your way if you just show a little bit of consistency, because there's some crazy statistics out there about how inconsistent people are who start podcasts, because it seems like it's real easy. You're going to talk into a mic, you're going to push play or push upload, whatever, and the world's going to hear it, and it's going to be great. But the reality is that there's probably about 20 steps in that process if you're including putting out content, newsletters, and things like that. But yeah, I really just wanted to show you, and tell you rather, why I even have a podcast. Let you know, we'll do a little bit more on this as it evolves, which is hopefully soon. But this is going to be the new Closed Monday studio. It is going to be new and exciting. It's going to be weird to have guests coming into my house, but it is what it is. And that's it. I wanted to let you guys know just exactly why I started this podcast, inspire you to hopefully do the same thing. Maybe if you have any questions, just put them in the comments and check out the show. If you haven't checked it out already, it is called Closed Monday. We're putting all our content up on a separate channel, the Closed Monday channel, here on YouTube if you want to check that out. But all the episodes, I think we're up to 218 episodes, are out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. So if you are in the restaurant business, there are a ton of takeaways from the guests on that show going back all the way to 2020, and even most recently there's solo episodes, there's guests for my show that would do the reach outs, just to kind of put like a fake buffer between me and the guest. So her name was Sarah, and I'll tell you why her name was Sarah, because my name is Kyle Inserra, and a lot of times I mumble or somebody doesn't hear me, and my entire life growing up people thought I was Kyle and Sarah, like where's Sarah? So, little inside joke, maybe it's funny, maybe it's not, but would reach out to these people, and then I would jump in like, hey, would love to have you. Sarah would book them, and I wound up booking some big names, and it's because everybody was sitting around, had nothing better to do but to talk about themselves. I lucked out there. Having those names on in the beginning, even though it was named horribly and I had a crappy mic, and I only had the camera that I had on my 2015 Apple Macintosh, and Macintosh, I don't know why I say Macintosh, 2015 MacBook, yeah, I got guests. And the shows were well received, and people were like, holy crap, how are you talking to these people? They were just around, they had nothing else to do, and there was a lot to talk about. Since then, the show has been, it's evolved a lot. And right now the show is called Close Monday, which is obviously a tribute to the restaurant industry in terms of I wanted something kitschy where if you were in the restaurant business, you would see the name that didn't have to have restaurant in it, but you would know it had something to do with restaurants. So, and it's really great because if I wear a sweatshirt now and people who have the sweatshirts also say the same thing, if they walk through anywhere like a airport or a mall or the movie theater, people are like, oh, what's that about? Or, I'm in the restaurant business, we're closed Monday. So that was it. That was I don't know where I came up with it, but that was where it came from. Tribute to the restaurant business and everyone being closed on Monday. So yeah, it's now called Close Monday. The show has served mainly as a lead gen source for me. And that being the case, it has been a priority, So historically, in commercial real estate and this type of work, there's a lot of cold calling, there's a lot of cold emailing, but I realized things were changing, and I thought this would be a great way to do it. So even though I've gotten a little bit of business directly from guests who've been on the show, it has served me very well in terms of making connections in the industry from folks who have just seen the show and then were like, hey, I should probably talk to this guy about what we're looking to do. So I have gotten business from the show, so it has been successful in that way. And of course, there's been advertising opportunities, content opportunities. I've been very fortunate to have partnership opportunities with Cloud Kitchens, with Uber Eats, with Amazon, Marquee, Davos Sales Tax, 7 Shifts. A lot of these tech brands were very gracious with their time and financially supported the show at a time when we really needed it. There are collaborative episodes with multiple guests and live episodes, so please check it out. And we're going to be launching a whole bunch of new initiatives around the show, so stay tuned there. And that's it. Hope you guys have a great day. Hope you stay warm if you're here in the Northeast. It is freaking freezing. Out in LA, you guys are dealing with the fires. Our thoughts are with you. Everybody, please stay safe. Hopefully that gets under control soon. It's really scary as to what's going on out there. Hope everybody is safe, doing the best they can to protect their loved ones and their home. So that's it. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you next week.